Hello and welcome to another lesson in our PIC microcontroller software construction and hardware construction. Today we'll be looking at a little bit of a different thing today. Like I said in our last video on our RS-232 communication to a PIC chip, I talked about that there's actually some that you can actually write your own software to communicate to your chip. And that's kind of what we're basically going to do today. In the meantime, I'm preparing the hardware implementation of this, where I'm actually going to go ahead and put some parts on a breadboard and show you how to actually cable that up and use Terminalink software and talk to it. But in the meantime, I figured I'd post this video on how to use Microsoft Visual Studio to build some custom software where you can write stuff to your chip. So basically, we're going to go ahead and get started here. We've got Visual Studio 2008 is the version I'm using. You're going to come up here, click on your new project. You're going to go to Visual Basic. Just in case all of your stuff is closed, you're going to use other languages, Visual Basic, and then you want Windows. And then that way you can choose the Windows Forms application. And we'll name it 6.2. Okay. And that'll bring us up a form. Alright, now in this computer that I'm using right now actually has USB ports on it, so it does not have an RS-232 port. So what I'm going to do is I'm using one of those USB to RS-232 converter cables, and that way I will gain the RS-232 UART port on the computer with just USB. Now, one of those tricks I was telling you about to determine what COM port is assigned is if you go to your Start, Computer, right click on Computer, go to Manage, and then it should bring up the Computer Management. Go to Device Manager, and now you should see ports when this comes up. If you install your drivers correctly and whatnot, you should see this ports that comes up. If you expand it, you'll see your USB to serial COM port, and right now it's on COM port 2. Now if you don't like, for some reason, COM port 2, you can always go to Properties, Port Settings, and Advanced, and you will get the COM port number that you can actually change. Now you can assign it whatever COM port number you want. The sky's the limit on this, but for us, just COM port 2 will be fine. But just that's how you can change it if you would like. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to use the serial port tool, which in your toolbox under Components, see the heading Components here, and some of you it may be shrank, you can expand it out, that way you can see them all. And then down here we've got serial port, so we're going to double click on that. We're going to add our serial port component. So I'll go ahead, we'll give it a name, we'll call it RS-232 port, why not. And this is where you're going to set it up. See how it says port name? This is where you're going to give it which one you're dealing with. So we're dealing with COM port 2. You can set up your baud rates, you can do 9600, you know, the 19200 or whatever you want to do, 8 data bits. If you're using any type of hardware control, any flow control, this is where you'll do it. It's actually, instead of under flow control, it's under handshake. You can actually choose from the drop down. That's where you get your X on, X off, your request to send, all your different handshaking. Now for us, we're just going to do none. Well, we don't need any types of handshaking going on. We're just going to write out to it. So that's basically it. You just pop that in there. It gives you your port. Now we're going to go ahead and we'll add a couple command buttons to this here. So let's scroll on up and grab some command buttons real quick. There's 1 and 2. Here we go. All right. And those of you that haven't used Visual Studio before, I'm just double clicking to pull this stuff up. But basically, okay, we're going to take our first button, we're going to name it. We'll call this one the port open, and then the next one we'll call it port write. That's what we'll call it. Okay. So now in our port open, this is where we're going to actually open the serial port. So we'll double click on that. Brings us into the button click event, which is up here. So we've got our button 1. We're in the click event, the method name. And so now we're going to use a try exception component. Basically what this does, those of you that haven't used this, is basically any type of exceptions or errors or anything, any problems opening the port, we can actually capture that error and print it to the screen in a message box. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So we're going to say try. Okay, and what we're going to try is we're going to have our RS-232 port dot open. We're going to try to open it, and then what we're going to do is then we're going to catch any exceptions and write those to a message box. So MSG box, and we're going to have our error dot description. I'll write that out. Okay, now we're going to use the finally, and we're going to check if the RS-232 port dot is open. We're going to see if that's false. And if that's false, then we're going to display our message box that says that this port could not be opened, or whatever you like. We'll make this a style dot exclamation. We'll make this an exclamation. Okay, so basically if the port isn't there, it'll catch the error and show it to you. And in fact, if you want me to show you how that works, let me do this real quick. We know our port's COM2. Let's change it. Let's make it COM1, because that way it won't exist when we try to open it. So we hit our play button here. If we hit port open, boom, there it goes. See, the port COM1 does not exist. And then this could not be open. So there you go. So that's pretty much what that try, exception, finally, and all that stuff does. But for us, we know, whoops, let's grab our port. We know which port we're dealing with, port 2. But that comes in handy if you're dealing with, like, let's say you have a combo box or something, or a list box or something that you're going to be picking ports from, and just a way of letting the user know if the port is tied up or unavailable, or it can't be opened or doesn't exist, whatever. That's a very good way of doing it instead of the program just basically halting. So now for our port write, what we're going to do is very, very simple. I'll make it a little more complicated. We'll use a variable. So we'll declare a dim str hello. We'll call it hello as string. Str hello. We'll make that equal to hello world. All right. So now we'll go ahead and write it out, and it is just as simple as calling your RS-230 port dot write, and then str hello, and you are done. That's all there is to it. It's very, very simple, very straightforward. And to prove that this works, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start this program, start our program. Okay, so there's our program. And I'm also going to pull up, this is basically a very simple port monitoring software that I've got that's freeware. Oops, we want serial COM2, and we want to start monitoring that port. So basically, it's going to show us in this little window down here, it's going to show us what all comes across the port. So we should see the port being opened when I click open, which there it is. You see all the sequencing, hand flow, handshake, flow rates, and all the stuff to open the port. So here's everything that just happened to open up that port. So the port's open now, and now we're just going to hit write. And there it is. Hello world. You can do it as many times as you want. Hello world. And that's it. That's actually being written out to that port. If I have this connected to my chip, that's going straight to my chip. Very, very simple, very straightforward. And that's pretty much it. Again, like I said, I will be posting some more solutions, some more things up. I will be working on that video with the hardware implementation. In the meantime, I may move on to some other deals. I'm actually don't have a spare breadboard right now. I've got some other projects and things going that are taking them up. So once I get through with those and can free up a breadboard, I will put this together and show you. However, in the meantime, I will be creating other videos on other things. I'll probably be moving on to either an LCD screen or a bootloader. Haven't decided which one, but I'll keep it posted. I'll probably put up a bulletin on what I'm going to be dealing with, and what we'll be doing next. So till then, keep coding. Please comment, please subscribe, and keep working on microcontrollers. Have any questions, please feel free to post. Thank you very much.